Hello and welcome to Football Cruise on Ninja Footballers TV. We're back on the show. I still have my favorite guys with me, and for you, the viewers, the World Cup is finally over. And I must say, guys, thank you, Qatar. Let me bring you in, Shego, on the show. I mean, sum up the World Cup in Qatar so far. They proved the doubters wrong. In terms of facilities, the football itself, it was fantastic. How would you sum up the World Cup?
One word: exceptional. The whole preparation, from the experience, from the first game to the last game, and from the experience there generally, because I got a chance to hear feedback from the guys that went to the World Cup, and the experience there was top notch according to those guys. The preparation, the stadium, the vibe among the fans, the play, everything, the games, the shockers, the one word: exceptional.
Both for you, I've seen people who probably they've been following football much longer than I do. They come out to say it's the best World Cup ever.
I agree.
The best World Cup. You agree? Did you watch the 19?
For me, that I've ever seen since 2002, it's like the best I've ever seen.
But for you, how would you sum up the World Cup in Qatar? Do you think it's the best ever that you've witnessed?
Yeah, I think it was definitely the best World Cup experience watching it, and definitely the final was probably the best football match I've probably ever seen in my life, because it was an exceptional game, and it was just it was typical of the tournament we've seen so far, and it was a very good way to cap off a very exceptional tournament. And on and off the pitch was a very good tournament. There was a lot of talk before the tournament began about Qatar and their history and all that, and everything like that. But I think it also had its positives, because a lot of people got to see the warmth of the Qatari people, how welcoming they are, how accommodating they are, and all those things. And also a lot of factors like the no alcohol in stadiums, the alcohol ban in stadiums, it actually became an advantage, because there was no drama, no fighting, there was no violence. It was a very peaceful experience for the fans who were in the stadium to watch. Children were able to watch, women were able to come to stadiums peacefully and all that. So it was a very positive tournament. It was very positive.
We must say, it was sad for few journalists who lost their lives in the tournament as well. But aside that, we had a fantastic World Cup. We even saw the return of Davido for the closing ceremony, and of course our manager. He congratulated Argentina, Jose Pesero. He's been there watching the games and as well as there for work, like he said. He congratulated Argentina on winning that World Cup. Of course, we all know Argentina are the champions, third-time champions. But before we go on our Facebook on the show, let's talk about Morocco now. We saw that third-place game. Against Croatia, two teams looking to bow out on a high. How would you sum up that game? Do you think Morocco should have at least got the bronze medal for what they've done so far?
So for what they've done so far, I think they should have won the bronze. But looking at that game, how they came into that game, they really didn't turn up the way they usually turn up in that game. Croatia was all over them in the first half. They completely dominated Morocco. Modric had a massive game in the first half, but Morocco came out all gone blazing. But how tough, if Croatia chooses to be tough, they can be tough defending and very hard to crack down and break down. So the Moroccans couldn't really break them down in the second half. They got a goal in the second half, but it wasn't enough for the bronze medal. So sadly they go fourth, but still a big achievement for themselves, still a big achievement for their region, and also I would also say for Africa. Even if they choose not to agree, I sit on that fence of they're Africans, so it's a good one for themselves, good show off, and I hope they can build on that. Let me end there.
But a quick one for you. Morocco, fourth place. Croatia. I wanted to see Modric, hold something. That guy, I hold him in high regards. He's a fantastic player, a leader for that team. It's good to see him hold that bronze medal, going home for Croatia. Probably it might be his last World Cup as well. But Morocco was sad. But it's been a success for them. They won't be forgotten when you talk about the World Cup in Qatar. So, how would you rate the tournament so far with the way they bowed out?
Absolutely. It's like I said last week, it's a decisive moment for African football and for Arabs all over the world, because now Morocco has shown the light, has shown that it has inspired a lot of people. Actually, you can see that there's a lot that we can achieve with the togetherness, with the organization that the Moroccans showed, with the passion they also showed, and the support. And it means a lot to a lot of people, and it's a very big moment for Africa and for Arabs. Like I said, that Morocco could finish fourth in the World Cup, and although they lost the game, that's the highest ever finish for an African country in the World Cup, fourth. So there's a lot to work on. There's a lot to be proud of, and in the subsequent World Cups, you can expect to see more now from African and Arabian teams as well.
And the prize money as well, massive for an African team as well. So I mean, congratulations to Morocco. It was a successful tournament. But talking about inspiration, one man who inspired the whole football world was Lionel Messi. He got his hands on that trophy he's much dreamed about. We'll go on a quick break now. When we return, we'll talk about that final between France and Argentina. Don't you go anywhere. It is still Football Cruise on Nigeria Footballers TV. Welcome back, guys. It's still Football Cruise on Nigeria Footballers TV. I still have my guys with me in the studio. Now, guys, let's get into it. I mean, that game. I mean, what a match. It was the Mbappe and you're already smiling already. You can't wait to give us your emotions from that game. But I mean, it was the Mbappe and Messi show. Brilliant game of football. I mean, in this World Cup, we saw games that kept us on our feet all through. I mean, that final was one of a kind. Some of your emotions, throughout that game, the goals pouring in and all that.
Where do I start from? That game was like the best World Cup finals I've ever seen.
6-goal thriller.
6 goals thriller. The timing of the goals, the emotions, the expectations on some of the players. Messi, Mbappe trying to win back-to-back, Messi trying to win the World Cup for the first time. It was pulsating. Amazing final. And for we fans, man, especially for the guys that were... There were games, there were times in the game whereby you're already, wow, this is sealed, and the next moment is all like, what's going on here? Yeah. So it wasn't good for the hearts of some fans, but all in all, it was a beautiful final. For me, I would make a confession publicly. After Argentina led 3-2, I stopped watching the game. I ran away. I put off all my notifications.
Why are you running?
I ran away. I couldn't just keep up any longer. And the next thing, my little kid brother just came up and it's 3-3. He immediately said that. I broke down. I was like, what is this? But I had to come back, summon courage, but because I know once the penalty shootout, the Argentine team most likely will do it because of their goalkeeper. But all in all, it was a good tournament for Messi, good tournament for Argentina, great tournament for Scaloni, and all in all, great final. Again, Mbappe also showed why he's nicknamed the baby goat. He showed why, and he's a guy that guy. I see him shattering lots of records that Messi, Ronaldo, if he stays fit though, I see him shattering lots of records. But for we guys that were always team Messi from day one, our dreams we've seen that dream come to reality. So let me end there. It's
not just about you guys that are Messi from day one. I mean, the football world wanted Messi to get his hands on that trophy. But Bolu, let me come to you. You're Mbappe. I mean, you scored a hat-trick in the final. You should be winning your team the trophy. It was just so sad for that young man, Mbappe. He had a fantastic game. You scored 3 goals in a final match against a Messi-led Argentina, but you didn't end up winning the trophy. I mean, how do you sum up Mbappe's emotions and seeing that from that young man, what he's done in that final?
Personally, there's a reason why my voice is a bit hoarse this morning, and it's because of Mbappe's goals.
You screamed,
Yeah, I screamed.
That second goal was
I screamed my lungs out watching that guy's performance. It's just wow. And at that moment, I was asking myself, how many players have ever scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final? Ronaldo never did. Pele never did. It was Sergio Horst actually in 1966, and it's just wonderful to see this young guy not actually be daunted by anything in the football world. Really, he's just there making records, and he's just here to be who he wants to be. And it's just amazing I could do that in the World Cup final with the pressure that was on, with the expectation, like Shegun said. It was billed as, before the game was billed as the Messi Mbappe final, and after the game it was the Messi Mbappe final. Exactly. That was what we got, and it just shows the level of football that these guys currently are on, and how much more they can still give. Mbappe is someone who can still give us 2 World Cups at the very least. I think it was 3 World Cups potentially. That's massive to think what he can still do in his career. And wow, France lost the game. It was a very disappointing way to lose the game, especially in the first half. But they can be very proud of of the performance, and especially Mbappe, he can be very proud of himself. And there's a lot more to come for him. There's so much more to come for him, and very soon he might begin to start winning Ballons d'Or and all that, and it won't be a surprise anymore.
It's still talking about that final game. Let's talk about the refereeing decisions now. A Polish referee was at the center of that game. 3 penalties were awarded in that final: 2 for France, 1 for Argentina.
And there could have been a lot more.
For me, I think in terms of his how would I say, his fair play, there are some points he didn't give so many fair plays to. Was it to France? At times, when you foul a player, you see the ball was still moving. I think there was one particular incident where he stopped the play instead of giving a fair play for France. But aside that, I think he had a decent game. I don't know what you guys think. Shegun, for you, how would you sum up the refereeing decisions in that final? Even before the final, there were a lot of talking points about referees. We saw referees being sent home. We saw Messi talking about referees. Martinez is talking about referees, and a whole lot of the players in the knockout stage is talking about referees. But let's stick with the final now. How would you sum up the refereeing decisions in that final game?
So it was fair, though he didn't make some correct decisions. From my own perspective, but all in all, I think I would just give him like a 7/10. The refereeing decision, he did okay. Those penalties were clear penalties.
So all 3 penalties were the right decision.
Right decision.
And he had to go to VAR to check for those penalties.
Yeah. But for that last Mbappe's penalty, I saw a video after the game, and before the ball got to Mbappe, that he shot and hit an Argentine player, the ball touched the hand of a French defender before it got to Mbappe, but that was also not seen on VR. And I think it's because the referee was insistent on what I want is what I want in this game. I think he wanted to take charge of that game. That's why he didn't even bother consulting the VR for most of those penalties, and even the one that Thuram dived in the box and everything.
I got a yellow card.
People said go and check VR,
but should have been a penalty.
He stamped his influence on that game and said this is what I want. So I like the fact that the referee was not intimidated by the occasion. He wasn't intimidated by the caliber of players on the pitch, because Messi was on the pitch screaming, Mbappe was on the pitch. These are players that they have high reputations in the game, but he wasn't scared by that occasion, and he did well. He did well. When he had to give fair play, he gave fair play. When he had to blow for free kicks, he did. So I think all in all, he had a very decent outing as a referee in the final. I'll give him 7/10.
Ibolu, was there any wrong decisions for you in that? You were talking about that Thuram penalty. You were saying it's a penalty in your opinion. So was that the only place you could fault the referee in that entire game?
I quite agree with Shegun's opinion on the referee trying to grab the game. Take charge of the game by himself. And it's a big game. It's a pressure game. There's a lot happening in the game. There's so many things. There are 22 players doing different things to each other, and it's a very difficult game to keep tabs on. But I think the referee was you can say he could have given this, could have given that, but both teams actually can lay claims to fouls or incidents where they could have got favor from the ref. So I think it was balanced in that way, that he gave some to France and he gave some to Argentina as well. And no team can really complain that they lost. France can't complain that they lost the game, and they can't say Argentina won the game because of the referee either. So I think it was a balanced game all in all. On the balance of play, the ref gave both teams he favored both teams when he needed to. So I think it wasn't really a bad game for the ref. It was a decent outing by him.
All right, finally on this final now, what next for both teams? France, the players. The players they missed heading into this tournament. I don't know if you guys saw them get into the finals, but what next for France now? The next World Cup is in 2026. What next for Argentina? Messi is one thing for me that makes this World Cup special was the fact that it might just be the last World Cup for so many players that participated in this World Cup. We talk about Thiago Silva, Luka Modric,
Pepe.
Neymar. We don't know what's up. Pepe as well. Quite a number of them who we want to say this might be the last World Cup. So what a way to bow out. Sergio Busquets, retired as well after this World Cup. We saw referees resigned as well. Another thing that made it special. Yeah. But looking at France and Argentina, what next for these two teams, and how do they take it up from here?
For France, they still have like a blend of youngsters coming up the ranks, especially their centre backs. This tournament, they have the likes of Kalulu of AC Milan. They have the likes of Fofana of Leicester City. They have
Fofana of Chelsea, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, Fofana of Chelsea.
Former
Leicester City. They have they had lots of players. Nkunku was in this tournament. So they still have, and this Crocs is still quite very young. There's Tuchemeni is 19, Kamavinga is 19, Dembele is not 25, Mbappe is not 25. So this Crocs outside Griezmann, you and Lloris, I think these Crocs of players, if they continue playing consistently for the next 2-3 years, these similar players would also feature in the next World Cup. The backline, I think the oldest in backline is Varane, and this is like Varane's last World Cup, right? So outside Varane, I think nobody in that backline is 25. Outside Varane, in the midfield, Fofana that even came in, it's not even 25. Rabiot can still feature one more World Cup. And going forward again, if they take off Giroud, bring in Nkunku, that front line can still play in the next World Cup. So this team still has the potential to win the next World Cup, and definitely because of France, you know, they're producing. Their league produces youngsters a lot. So
quite a lot.
There's almost 70% probability that they will still produce more strikers, more forwards. We know that this season they were bit staffs of forward. That's why the likes of Thuram and this other guy could make the list. Kolomani, exactly. But I can be certain that in the next 2-3 years, the French team would everly produce the next someone, the next big star in the game, and he will be joining this team. So bright future for France. They have that potential to also be like a super fighter for the next World Cup. But for the Argentine team, I wouldn't say the same, because I think this team has built their own style and their own structure on Messi, and
trying to win it for Messi.
Yeah, and they're trying to win it for Messi. So the definition of success will be different without Messi for the Argentine team, and the way they try to set up to actually get results also, it might be a bit different. And that Messi factor was what drove them to the final, and almost that Messi factor also won them the game, the World Cup also. So for this Argentine team, I'm really not so sure, because I'm not really, they have a blend of youngsters also, the likes of Enzo, Molina, McAllister. These guys too, they're decent, but you can't compare it to the French team. These youngsters are already playing for the best teams in the world. Camavinga plays for Madrid and the likes. But the ones for Argentine team, I really can't say that.
You talk about McAllister going back to Brighton
after winning the World Cup. So I really can't say much about the Argentine team outposts Messi. I really can't say much about them, that they are really going to do well. But one thing I know that can really push their success now outside the player is the coach. Scaloni has done beautifully well for that squad. He only has one defeat in almost like 40 games for Argentina since he took over for Argentina. So I think Scaloni has a difficult job trying to move forward after Messi. I know Messi will still continue playing with this team, but I don't think he'll get there in the next World Cup. So, but I know Scaloni will be very pivotal to this team's success in future. But I know they will still be there, but they might not be as strong as the French team.
Bolu, one thing that might change for both teams, Scaloni is more likely to continue for Argentina, but Deschamps, he might just move on, and I think that might be the biggest change for France, because they still have the players and everybody. I mean, we're happy they are of African descent, most of them. We just have to talk about that. It's a fact. You can't take that away. It's a fact. But I mean, Messi, he's come out to say that he's not bound out yet. He still wants to play as a champion. Do you think is the right decision for Messi, and how do you think this will affect Argentina's chances moving forward? Talking about what next for both teams now and how they build moving forward.
Yeah, I quite agree with what Shegun said about the Argentine squad, that it's always been trying to win for Messi, trying to build a team around Messi winning the World Cup finally. And he might not play in the next World Cup, but you see that Messi still has the potential to probably play another 1 or 2 years with the national team as a senior man of the team, as a captain of the national team, trying to inspire them.
It's not 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, it's not 1 or 2 years. Yeah, so you can't really see the talents right now in the Argentine team, but I promise you that there are a lot of talents in Argentina that have been inspired by this win. There are a lot of players that will come up from this. A lot of things that will happen for Argentinian football, but you just don't know where they will be going, because you can see a lot of the French players that you mentioned, the players that you know from watching European football, but you don't know enough of the players in Argentina as well, so you don't know what's coming, and we don't know. Argentina football has always been well structured and all that. They had the youngest coach at the World Cup as well, Scaloni, so they have a bright future ahead of them. But I just think that Messi can still do a job of inspiring them for the next couple of years as world champions, trying to bring that new generation, trying to see how to keep that winning mentality, how to remain a top team, and how to keep flying the Argentina flag on the world stage.
All right, we can't wrap up this session without talking about the individual accolades of the World Cup. I mean, goalkeeper of the tournament went to the Argentine goalkeeper Martinez.
Yes.
He had a fantastic tournament. The young player of the tournament went to Enzo Fernandez, the Argentine young midfielder, the talk of the town now. Messi, I mean, player of the tournament. Kylian Mbappe won the Golden Boot. Now, looking at these 4 players now, was it the right call for you? Do you think there's any other player who was more deserving of being in the podium for one of the best players individually of the tournament?
So for me, they were all perfect. So for Mbappe, perfect. Like the record speaks for him. So that's like is what he did that he gave him the medal for Messi. Obviously not. There's no arguments. He's obviously best player in this tournament. Enzo, his team got to the final. He won the World Cup, and he was very pivotal in the success of the team. While Emi Martinez, what can we say more?
Bono should have. Don't you think he should have? I mean, I'm just making a case now for the Moroccans.
Nah. Emi was literally the guy that handed this title to Argentina, so he deserves it. So all 4 they deserve. It's well deserved.
Had Morocco finished as the bronze medalist, don't you think Bono would have stand a chance of winning the goalkeeper of the tournament?
I think he would have stood a good chance, but
I mean, he saved penalties as well.
Yeah, like he just said, Martinez actually saved the penalty in the final. He intimidated the Tchouaméni to miss the other penalty in the final, and that's pivotal as the goalkeeper of the tournament. That's what you want. I mean, for a winning team, that's what you want. You want your strikers to be able to score the penalties and the goalkeeper to keep out the penalties, which is what Martinez did. And he didn't just save penalties against France in the final. He saved penalties against Netherlands as well in the quarterfinal. Yeah. Anyway, has always had that record. So I mean, and
he made a crucial save.
Yeah, he made a crucial. Yeah, in the 128th minute as well. And he made some crucial saves against Australia throughout the knockout stages as well. And it's not just a fluke because he was also the goalkeeper of the tournament at the Copa America last year when they won it. So it's not like it was a fluke. So I mean, Martinez definitely deserved it. And talking about Bono, his team finished 4th. They didn't get to the final. You can't really. It would be very unfair to give a keeper who finished 4th ahead of someone who actually saved penalties in the World Cup final to win his team the World Cup. So I think it's well deserved.
Had they finished 3rd, do you think he would have stood a chance of maybe?
If Martinez had saved penalties in the final, I don't think anybody else would have won it.
So you don't think? So you're fine with all the?
Yeah, I think Bono was personally my own best goalkeeper at the tournament. But Martinez is the goalkeeper at the tournament. He won his team the World Cup. What else can you expect from a goalkeeper?
And this is the first World Cup. I mean, one of the few World Cups we want to say the individual honors is, the debate isn't much. Quite a number of people agree with all 4 winners of the individual accolades and all that. So, but I mean, we had a fantastic World Cup. Qatar was fantastic. It was wonderful.
The bar very high. So USA should be hitting that standard.
USA, Canada, and Mexico.
They need to hit that standard, or they need to beat that standard, because this Qatar, for me, they blew my expectations. Like, I did not expect the World Cup to be this interesting and well planned and like the way it went. So if US is giving us a World Cup, they need to give us that World Cup. That's what I'll say.
All right, for you, USA needs to match what Qatar did to us. And the World Cup in Qatar was special. I mean, it was the first World Cup in the Middle East, first World Cup played in November, December, and what a night for the Argentines and for Lionel Messi. And with that, guys, it's a wrap on the show today. It's been wonderful on the show. And I must say, this is the final edition of Football Cruise in the year 2022. So we are signing out for the year. We're back in the new year, giving you premium content as regards Nigerian football. Guys, it's a wrap on the show. Final words, Shegun, is dirty December. Is it going to be dirty for you?
It has to be clean. Messi will be clean for me, so it's going to be clean all the way. We jollificate the entire new year.
Entire new year, I know that. But how's the festive period? It's going to go for you? Like,
it's been dirty so far. As you can, my voice is even dirty already. So I hope to enjoy the rest of the year and have a fantastic end to the year and a beautiful new year as well.
From all of us, it is compliments of the season. Do enjoy the festive period. Stay safe and continue to keep it up with us on Nigeria Footballers TV. If you're watching this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on notification for premium Nigerian football content. My name is Emmanuel Sebastian. I've been with Shegun on the show and of course Bolu on the show. Till we come away again next time. Keep cruising.